Good evening. Welcome back to Sun9 Education channel. Friends, before going to start today's video, a small request for you. Those who are not yet subscribed our channel, please subscribe our channel to receive the latest information on various subjects. Okay friends, let's start today's video. Okay, friends, in the last classes we have discussed the growth and development, and today we are going to discuss about the individual differences. Individual differences is nothing but the difference among persons. Difference among persons or difference between the two persons. So that is not an individual difference. Individual difference is nothing but the difference among persons. So which aspects the difference, in which aspect the difference we will found. So that is number one, personality. Number two, intelligence. Number three, creativity. Number four, adjustment. Aptitude. Number six, attitude. Etc. So in generally, if we see any two persons, definitely there will be a lot of differences. Not only in two persons, if we see the fingers in our hand, no two fingers are not the same. One is small and one is long. So definitely if we see all five fingers, no two fingers are not equal. So that's in the same manner, no two persons are not the not in all aspects. For example, if we see two persons, for example here, person A, person B. So person A intelligence is 120 and above, and person B intelligence is 110, 110, and person A's creativity is low, high, is low, his creativity is low. Adjustment, well adjusted, not adjusted. So like this, if we see the any two persons, definitely there will be a lot of difference among two persons, like their personality, like their intelligence, like their creativity, like their adjustment level, or their aptitude level and attitude level. So no two persons are not the same in different aspects. So if you want to know that kind of differences, that is known as individual differences. Individual differences. The father of individual differences is known as Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler. He is known as the father of individual psychology. Father of individual psychology. And one more person is there. The individual differences among the persons is studied by Sir Francis Galton. Sir Francis Galton is known as father of individual psychology. Is the father of individual differences is known as Alfred Adler. Father of Sir Francis Galton studied the difference between he is that is individual differences, father of individual differences. So Sir Francis Galton, he made many researches on individual differences. Individual differences are majorly classified into two types. Individual differences majorly classified into two types. Namely, that is number one, inter-individual differences. Inter-individual differences. And next one is intra-individual differences. Intra-individual differences. Inter-individual differences. Individual differences are broadly classified into two types, namely that is number one, inter-individual differences and intra-individual differences. We are coming to the first one, inter-individual differences. Inter-individual differences is nothing but the difference between two persons in several aspects is known as inter-individual differences. Once again, I am repeating, the difference between two persons in several aspects is known as inter-individual differences. Inter-individual differences is nothing but the difference between two persons in several aspects. What are the several aspects means? The difference between personality, the difference between two persons in their personality, the difference between two persons in their aptitude, the difference between two persons in attitude, the difference between two persons in adjustment, the difference between two persons in maladjustment, the difference between two persons in intelligence and creativity, that is known as inter-individual differences. And next one is intra-individual differences. Intra-individual differences. What do you mean by intra-individual? Intra means within. Intra means within. Intra means within. Within the same person. The difference between the same person in several capacities, several competencies or several capacities. Capacities is known as intra-individual differences. Inter-individual differences is nothing but the difference between two persons in several aspects is known as inter-individual difference. Intra-individual difference is nothing but The difference between same person in the several capacities or several competences. So what is those several capacities means a person is expert in mathematics. He got 95 percentage in mathematics, and the same person got 60% in English. The same person got 75 percentage in physics. So the same person got Telugu, he got only 50%. So this is the competencies, the difference between the same persons in several capacities is known as intra-individual differences. This is the inter-individual difference between two persons. And intra-individual differences, the difference in same persons in his several capacities. Like if he is expert in mathematics, he is expert in English, and he expert in physics, but he got 60% of marks in English and 50% of marks in Telugu. So that is the difference in his capacities, in his competencies. That is known as intra-individual differences, inter-individual differences and intra-individual differences. So intelligence is very very important factor in individual differences. So why? Because nobody is not a gifted child. Nobody is not a average. If we go through the intelligence scale, average, above average, below average, gifted, and creative child. So definitely these differences are individual differences are there among two persons. Like some may be expert in mathematics, or like that some may be the same person is not expert in English, not expert in physics. So that is the difference between himself in his capacities. That is the difference that is known as intra-individual differences. So this is the inter-individual differences and intra-individual differences. And next goes to the intelligence. Intelligence. We will move to the intelligence. 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 Intelligence is nothing but the capacity to adjustment to new environment or environment is known as intelligence. Intelligence or abstract thinking is known as intelligence. Abstract thinking is known as intelligence. Main important definitions. The capacity to adjustment to the new environment is known as intelligence, or the capacity, the abstract thinking is known as intelligence. So these two definitions are very very important definitions. The capacity to adjustment to the new environment. Whenever a person is adjustment in a new situation, in a new environment, that is known as is intelligence, or abstract thinking is known as intelligence. And intelligence is a internal natural energy. Intelligence is nothing but it is a natural internal energy. And intelligence, heredity and environment influence the intelligence. Heredity and environment shows influence on intelligence. Heredity and environment shows influence on intelligence, and it is a natural internal energy. Intelligence shows individual differences. Intelligence shows individual difference. Why? Because no two persons are not having the same IQ. Some may be average persons, some may be gifted persons, some may be below average persons, some may be above average persons, some may be creative persons. So that's why intelligence shows individual differences. Intelligence influence the heredity and environment influence the intelligence. Intelligence can be assessed. Only intelligence cannot be measured. Intelligence can only be assessed through intelligence tests, IQ tests. IQ tests. Through IQ tests, we can assess the intelligence of an individual, but we cannot measure the intelligence. We cannot measure the intelligence. Intelligence is measured through, assessed through intelligence tests. So, and what are the theories of intelligence? This is most important. Theories of intelligence. Theories of intelligence. Theories of intelligence. The most important theories of intelligence is broadly classified in as follows, like number 1, unifactor theory of intelligence. Unifactor theory of intelligence. Number 2, bifactor theory of intelligence, multiple factor theory, group factor theory of intelligence, group factors theory of intelligence, and fifth one is Guilford theory of intellect. Most important, Guilford theory of intellect. Most important. And theories of intelligence is broadly classified as follows, namely that is unifactor theory of intelligence, bifactor theory of intelligence, multifactor theory of intelligence, group factor theory of intelligence, and Guilford theory of intellect. So first one, unifactor theory of intelligence. Unifactor theory of intelligence is nothing but this theory was introduced by Binet, Stern, Terman. Unifactor theory of intelligence was introduced by Binet, Stern, Terman. Binet, Stern, Terman. And bifactor theory of intelligence is introduced by Carl Spearman. Carl Spearman or Charles Spearman is also known as Charles Spearman. He is also known as Charles Spearman. Charles Spearman. And multifactor theory was introduced by E.L. Thorndike. E.L. Thorndike. And group factor theory, L.L. Thurston. This theory was introduced by L.L. Thurston. Guilford theory of intellect was introduced by J.P. Guilford. J.P. Guilford. So, theories of intelligence, unifactor theory, bifactor theory, multifactor theory, and group factor theory, and Guilford theory of intellect. Unifactor theory was introduced by Binet, Stern, Terman, and bifactor theory was introduced by Carl Spearman or Charles Spearman, and multifactor theory was introduced by E.L. Thorndike, and group factor theory was introduced by L.L. Thurston, and Guilford theory was introduced by J.P. Guilford. So, one by one, unifactor theory. Unifactor theory is nothing but they believe that only one factor is responsible for intelligence. According to the unifactor theory, they believe that only one factor is responsible for intelligence. For example, this theory believes that a person who is expert in mathematics may be expert in English. In generally, it is not possible. But this theory believes that, according to unifactor theory of intelligence, they believe that only one factor is responsible for human intelligence. So, for example, a person who is expert in mathematics may be expert in English also. So, in common situations, it may not be occurs. Why? Because definitely a person who is expert in mathematics may not be expert in English, may not be expert in chemistry, may not be expert in computer science. But this theory believes that only one factor is responsible for human intelligence. So this was introduced by Binet, Turner, and Terman. And next one is bifactor theory of intelligence. Bifactor theory of intelligence. According to this theory, human intelligence is depends upon two factors. According to themselves, bifactor theory of intelligence, two factors are responsible for human development. Two factors. What are those two factors? This G factor and S factor. According to bifactor theory of intelligence, human intelligence is responsible for two factors, that is G factor and S factor. What is G factor? G factor is nothing but general factor, general, and S factor is nothing but specific factor, specific. General factor is common for all, common for all. Specific factor varies from person to person. Some specification is there. Every person has some specification. Specialization in cardiology, specialization in diabetology, specialization in different things. So that is their specification. So that's why general factor, specific factor. General factor is common for all, and specific factor everybody studied the BTech, but some specifications are, one may be studied civil engineering and one may be studied architectural engineering, and one may be studied some mechanical engineering, one may be computer science engineering. So there is specifications are there. So that is their specific specific factors. That is, so specific factors are varies from person to person. So whereas G factor is common for all. So according to their theory, bifactor theory of intelligence, two factors are responsible for human intelligence, that is G factor and S factor. So according to this theory was introduced by Carl Spearman or Charles Spearman, and according to himself, S is equal to, specific factor is equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3 plus so on Sn. So this is specific factor. So this theory was explained by himself in the abilities of man. Most important bit, the abilities of man. The abilities of man. Bifactor theory was explained in the abilities of man. Most important bit, the abilities of man. The abilities of man was written by Charles Spearman or Carl Spearman. Or the five-factor theory of intelligence was explained in which theory? Means the abilities of man. So this is the bifactor theory of intelligence given by Carl Spearman or Charles Spearman. And next thing is multi-factor theory. One may says that only one factor is eligible for human intelligence, and one person says that two factors are responsible for human intelligence, and another one, this is a multiple factor theory of intelligence. This theory was introduced by E.L. Thorndike. He says that not only single factor not only two factors, multiple factors are responsible for human intelligence. So, he wrote a book, Animal Intelligence. Animal Intelligence was written by E.L. Thorndike. Animal Intelligence, most important bit. Animal Intelligence. So, according to him, not only single factor, not only dual factor, multiple factors are responsible for human intelligence. He wrote the book Animal Intelligence. This E.L. Thorndike wrote the Animal Intelligence. And next, group factor theory. Group factor theory was introduced by L.L. Thurston. L.L. Thurston. L.L. Thurston. Group factors theory. This theory was introduced by L.L. Thurston. And this is also known as primary mental abilities. Primary mental abilities theory. In Telugu it is known as Prathamika Manasika Samarthyala Siddhantam. Primary mental abilities. And some abilities are there. 7 abilities are primary. How many types of primary abilities are? 7 types of primary abilities are there. Like reasoning, deductive thinking, inductive thinking, comprehension, and reasoning, like that. Some 7 spatial reasoning, and deductive thinking, inductive thinking, like that. 7 primary mental abilities are there. So according to the group factor theory of intelligence, L.L. Thurston, not only single factor, not only dual factor, some primary mentally abilities are very, very important for human intelligence. That is reasoning and spatial intelligence, or spatial reasoning, or deductive thinking, or inductive thinking, logical thinking, etc., or the primary mental abilities. These are the very, very important factors that is responsible for human intelligence in group factor theory of intelligence. And next one, according to Guilford, J.P. Guilford. J.P. Guilford belongs to America. J.P. Guilford belongs to America. He proposed the theory, Guilford theory of intellect. Guilford theory of intellect. So, Guilford theory, CPO, contents, products, operands. Five, 6, 5. Contents, products, operands. 3 main responsible. Contents are 5, products are 6, operands are 5. (150 factors). And in old version, contents, products, operands. (120 factors). Old 120, revised 150 factors. According to his Guilford theory of intellect, 150 factors are responsible for human intelligence. 150 factors are responsible. That is contents, products, operands. Contents are 5, products are 6, and operands are 5, 6, 5, 150. And before that, he have given that 5, 4, 6. Contents 5, products 4, and operands 6. 5, 4, 6, that is 120 factors. But revised factors are 150 factors. So so that's why whenever examiner asks this question, this is a very, very important question. Sometimes if they give 120 factors, the 120 is the right answer. If they give 120 and 150 also, 150 is the right answer. So that's why we have to very keen while answering this question, that is Guilford theory of intellect, Guilford theory of intellect. And these are the theories of intelligence. And if we go through the types of intelligence, intelligence is broadly classified into three types, namely that is abstract intelligence, mechanical intelligence, and social intelligence. Abstract, mechanical, and social intelligence. Three types, three intelligence types are there, and we will discuss these topics in detail in coming class. Okay, friends, please subscribe our Sun 9 Education channel, and share our channel, and like our channel, comment our channel. Okay, yours Dr. Ravinder Seegar.